You know, I can't help but think that the folks who panicked sold at $2.74 the other day are probably kicking themselves right about now. Seriously? Have a little guts, will ya? Just take a look at us now, hovering around $3.04. Of course, nothing's guaranteed in crypto, and while it looks like we just saw a classic retest, no one can say with 100% certainty that it was the bottom. But in this video, I'm going to show you why several respected chart analysts have pretty strong confidence that was the bottom, not just for the market at large, but for XRP in particular. We're holding firm above $3 in just a few hours. We actually peaked at $3.09. Liquidations are hitting. Bulls are charging. This is a good day to be in XRP. I'm about to break down some perspectives from multiple technical analysts, especially those who focus heavily on XRP. One of them even claims that what we've seen so far, just the warm-up. And honestly, I don't disagree. I'd even argue the majority of XRP's gains for this cycle still lie ahead of us. Only a fraction of the potential price surge has played out so far. Here's why I say that's and no. This isn't a price prediction, but historically, XRP has followed a very specific pattern. In the last two market cycles, it had an initial breakout, then traded sideways for around 6 months, followed by a second, much bigger breakout. That second pump absolutely dwarfed the first one in both percentage and dollar terms. It wasn't instant, but it happened, and it was explosive. So unless this cycle decides to completely break tradition, I just don't see XRP capping out at a modest double from its lows. What? We're just going to stop at $5 or $6? Maybe $6.50 if we're lucky? I have a hard time buying that narrative. Think about it. XRP has spent years consolidating. It finally has legal clarity. The suppression is off, and we're expected to believe that after all of that, it's just going to inch past its old highs and call it a day. Oh, that doesn't add up. I'm not convinced. Now, just to be clear, I'm not a financial professional, and nothing I say should be taken as investment advice. I'm just a crypto nerd who likes talking about this stuff online. It's it, no credentials, just enthusiasm. Always do your own research. At the time I'm recording this, it's 3:27 p.m. Central on Monday, August 4th, 2025. Can you believe we're already this deep into the year? It's been wild, and honestly, I think the second half is going to blow the first half out of the water. The first half was mostly sideways chop after that late 2024 run-up, but we're finally seeing life again. Right now, XRP is holding steady at $3.04. That's a serious move up from $2.74 just a few days ago. $2.7 for $3.09, yeah? That's a spicy bounce. And if you panic sold, oof, that's rough. But hey, you do you. Bitcoin's also looking healthy currently, at $114,781 after tapping $115,738 earlier today. Just a few days ago, we were down around $112,000. Momentum's building across the board. The price was just a bit higher than that, and it reminded me of a post I came across from Bob Lukasuv. I've probably heard of him. He's a well-followed chart analyst with over 347,000 followers. He said something that really stuck with me in the late stages of a bull market. You don't want to stay bearish for too long after a strong sell-off. And honestly, he nailed it. That's exactly why I wasn't freaking out when everything looked like it was falling apart the other day. People were acting like it was the end of the world, and I was just sitting there thinking, guys, this is part of the game. This is how crypto works, especially when you're nearing the tail end of a bull cycle. Big dips, sudden corrections, it's expected. Its panic selling made no sense. And guess what? We didn't have to wait long at all to bounce right back. Prices snapped upward again, and now there's a growing sense of confidence among multiple analysts that what we just saw could have been the bottom. Now, quick side note, I caught a clip earlier that I want to highlight. You can see it on the screen now. It's a segment from CNBC featuring Tom Lee. He's not just a regular contributor on the network. He also runs his own investment firm. And while no one nails every call, his track record is pretty solid. Tom Lee's forecasting that the S&P 500 could hit several new all-time highs this month. Yet this month. And if he's right about that, then the crypto analysts saying XRP could break out big time in the same window, yeah, they might be onto something too. Look, I always stress this. Nobody can predict exact timing in the markets with 100% accuracy. But considering where we are in the cycle, this speculation isn't outlandish. If anything, it's quite reasonable. Investor sentiment is clearly shifting toward risk-on mode again, not just in traditional markets, but in crypto too. And with the way things are shaping up, I truly believe a full-blown altcoin season is just around the corner. It's coming. Based on historical patterns, we're getting close. Tom Lee might be right on the money here, and if so, that only adds more weight to what we're seeing across the charts. Take a look at this post from chart analyst Javon Marks. It's a Bitcoin chart he shared. His takeaway was pretty clear. Bitcoin's bouncing right off a textbook retest stand if that holds. You could be looking at a surge 2 levels far beyond. $135,000. Now, I'm only going to spotlight a few examples here. But trust me, there are plenty of analysts echoing the same sentiment. What we just witnessed in the last few days, it wasn't a crash. It wasn't the end. It was just a healthy retest. Classic market move, price shot up, pulled back, and now it's poised to push even higher. Nothing out of the ordinary. There's no reason to freak out. If anything, this is just confirmation that the uptrend is still intact. The momentum is still there. And if history's any guide, we're not done climbing yet. Next up, we've got a post from chart analyst Mustachin. He's focused on Bitcoin. He laid it out pretty clearly. Imagine this recent drop was just a simple retest, according to him. Bitcoin's broken out of a massive inverse head and shoulders pattern that's been forming for the past 7 months. And based on that breakout, he's targeting between $155,000 and $161,000. Look, dips like this, they're often buying opportunities. That's what Mustache is saying, and really, that's the standard view from any seasoned analyst who's been around longer than 5 minutes. It was a load-up moment for people who were looking to expand their positions. That's all it was. Nothing more dramatic than that. And if Bitcoin actually pushes that high, man, I have to ask, how does XRP not hit double digits in that scenario? Seriously? It just wouldn't make sense. If that much capital is flowing through the crypto market, you're telling me XRPA, after all the years of suppression and recent strength, doesn't get a big slice of that pie? I'm not buying it. That seems incredibly unlikely. Now again, I'm not here to make price predictions. That's not my lane. I'll share what seems reasonable and within the realm of possibility, but I'm not in the prediction game it'd be disingenuous to act like I have a crystal ball. I've got my opinions, you've got yours. But logic says if Bitcoin explodes like that, XRP's going for a ride too. Now, let's talk about blockchain backer. He made a post on July 11th that I want to highlight before we look at his follow-up from today. Back in July, he was talking about Bitcoin and said his best guess was that we'd eventually see a backtest, some kind of dip before the market went euphoric and started climbing parabolically. He wasn't sure exactly how altcoins would behave. During that backdace, maybe they'd keep running, maybe they'd pull back, but the idea was that Bitcoin would dip, then take off into that euphoric parabola. And the interesting part, at the time of that post, Bitcoin was sitting just shy of $118,000, and he was projecting a dip to around $112,000. Fast forward to NAND, yeah, he basically hit $112,000 just recently. So we're a lot closer to that parabolic move than we were just a few weeks ago. I'm telling you, we're right there. Back in the bear market, you'd have to sit around for years waiting for action like this. But in the final stages of a bull run, that's not the case at all. The longest wait, especially for XRP holders, was that stretch of sideways price action for about 6 months. That was the grind. But something even longer than that, this late into a bull market, highly unlikely. There's no real historical basis for that with XRP, doesn't fit the pattern. Anyway, this morning, Blockchain Backer reposted that original July prediction, and he pointed out that Bitcoin basically hit the exact $112,000 mark. He mentioned right on target with what he called the May 22nd peak. Now he's watching closely to see if that backtest was sufficient. He's not calling it a guarantee, but he does believe there's a strong chance that was the bottom, and what's next is a big push upward into full-on parabola mode. And look, while most analysts will acknowledge there's always some chance we dip a bit further, maybe test a lower support, it just doesn't seem like many think that's the most likely scenario right now. Just saying, check out this post from chart analyst Dom. He shared something that really stood out to me. He said the one chart keeping him optimistic over the coming months is Ethereum. Why? Well, it lost a multi-year trend line, then regained it just a few months later, and since then, it's tapped the same resistance level for different times over the last 500 days. Now here's the key part. Dom points out that he's never seen a major market top occur at a level that's been tested 4 times without eventually breaking through. If Ethereum doesn't bust past $4,000 soon, it would be highly unusual based on any chart he's ever analyzed. And here's the kicker, Evan. If ETH drops down to around $3,100, would still be sitting comfortably within its structure. So yeah, that's bullish. And why does that matter for XRP holders? Because historically, Ethereum's rallies tend to light the fuse for altcoin season. And think about this. If ETH hits $4,000 again, and XRP were to hit an equivalent market cap, that'd put XRP around $8. You see how fast that could happen? It's not a stretch. It's actually pretty easy to justify based on past market behavior. Crypto's done this before, multiple times. So seeing Ethereum recover from being called dead down at $1,400 and then soaring to around $3,800, that's huge. Sure, it's pulled back a bit since, but it's clearly not done. Every time ETH tags that resistance zone, it weakens it. Eventually, it'll break. That's just how these things work. If Ethereum were to top out here without a breakout, that would be wild. It would mean this time actually is different, and we all know those are the famous last words of every cycle. I don't buy it. It's an XRP holder. I'm actually excited to see TH in this spot. It's good for the entire alt market. Now here's another fresh post from Dom, this time focused directly on XRP. He shared it just this morning. According to him, the bounce happened exactly where he expected it to, which is always a good sign. But he adds that XRP still needs to climb higher to get back to what he calls safe territory. Ideally, we want to see the $3 range flip into solid support and start pushing toward $4. If XRP can reclaim anything above $3.12, that would officially break the downtrend and shift the chart back into a bullish structure. Translation: so far, so good. Let's just see how the next moves play out, and hopefully, by the time you're watching this, we haven't seen any rug pulls. No guarantees, of course it's crypto, but as of now, while I'm recording this, it's looking strong. You love to see it. Here's a fresh post from chart analyst CW, and it's all about the XRP price chart. According to him, XRP has just 3 major sell walls standing between it and its previous all-time high. That means, yeah, there's some resistance to get through. He points out areas around $3.20, another zone between $3.35 and $3.40, and then one more right around $3.60. But after that, practically no resistance. It's wide open skies. So once XRP pushes through and sets a new all-time high, which, in my opinion, is only a matter of when, not if it's going to rip. I'm talking full-blown, face-melting, vertical candles, the kind of rally we haven't seen in nearly a decade. Honestly, it'd be bizarre if that didn't happen. Why? Because XRP isn't being held back anymore. The legal cloud is gone, the suppression is over, and the broader war on crypto, it's in the rearview mirror now. Not only is everything finit's better than fine, things are unfolding in a way that's straight out of the moonshot playbook. It's not just price action, either it's adoption. Let me ask you, did you have 7 publicly traded companies adding XRP out of their balance sheets as a reserve asset on your 2025 bingo card? Because that's not speculation, that's reality now. It gets crazier. Some of these businesses are actually integrating XRP into their internal payment systems to boost efficiency and cut costs. It's next level stuff. This is exactly what XRP holders have been talking about and hoping for over the past decade. Back then, it was just a vision. Now, it's happening. We're living it. Let's bring in a post from Greg Crypto. He's analyzing the XRP chart and points out that $3.03 is a crucial level on the 3-day time frame. If that support holds, the next key area to watch is $3.12. And ideally, $3.30 becomes the new floor. That would lay the groundwork for XRP to start targeting fresh all-time highs. So yeah, he's definitely leaning bullish in the short term. Same goes for Dark Defender, another chart analyst, who's also got a very optimistic outlook. He said, you haven't seen anything yet. Right now, we're at $3.03. And according to him, we're just getting started. And you know what? That's a fair take. Sure, XRP's been ripping just before the election. We were sitting around 49 cents, so clearly something already started. But if we're talking about the euphoric, jaw-dropping part of the cycle, the final explosive phase, then yes, I agree. We're just now entering that. CW also chimed in again recently, pointed out that XRP has been liquidating leveraged shorts right after wiping out some over-leveraged longs. And check this out. He posted that at exactly 1:26 a.m. When XRP was hovering around $2.97, he said, if XRP hits $3.06, it'll liquidate a pile of short positions. Well, what do you know? We hit $3.09, so yeah, that aged well. This right here is why leverage is not for the faint of heart. Unless you're an experienced trader, playing with leverage is like juggling grenades. The market will humble you quick, and honestly, crypto's already insane. You've got assets going up hundreds or even thousands of %. If that's not enough for you, and you feel the need to gamble with leverage, good luck. I don't feel sorry for people who get burned trying to squeeze every last drop. It's wild. Now, let's move on to chart analyst Casey Trades, who dropped a thoughtful XRP analysis. She said that after XRP made a fresh corrective low, the structure still looks viable. Last week, she mentioned that $3 or the 0.382 Fibonacci retracement might serve as the end of the correction and launch a new impulse wave. XRP initially bounced off that $3 level and hit $3.31, which looked like a solid breakout, but it didn't follow through with real strength. And that rejection at $3.31 became our first big clue that this might just be a B wave in a larger ABC correction. After that, XRP lost $3 support and trickled down to the next big level. 5 retracement at $2.75. That was the big test. And guess what? So far, XRP passed. It reclaimed $3 and is starting to show signs of building structure again, which is exactly what we want to see for bullish momentum to return. Technically, things are still looking fine. That $2.75 low stayed above the previous wave, one high near $2.65, and that's keeping the larger uptrend intact. And for the record, plenty of other analysts were pointing to $2.60, $2.65 as key support zones, and XRP held above that entire range. She also pointed out that we're now seeing bullish divergences pop up across timeframes, from the 15-minute all the way to the 4-hour, which adds even more credibility to the idea that $2.75 may have marked the bottom of the correction. Ahead, reclaiming $3.21, with conviction, would be a strong sign that the correction is behind us and the next wave up is beginning. If that happens, the next target zone is between $4.60 and $4.80, with the $4 psychological mark being a major checkpoint along the way. So yeah, nothing's broken here. In fact, it's starting to come together nicely. Casey wrapped up by saying that although expectations needed a bit of a reset after we dipped below $3, the chart structure is still bullish. The key, Fibonacci. Levels are being respected and momentum is returning. And as I'm wrapping up this video, XRP's back up to $3.05. Things are looking pretty sweet in XRP land right now. Honestly, I can't think of a better time in history to be holding XRP. If you ask me, the best part is still ahead. The Melchior face-off rally is coming. While patience is always necessary in crypto, I really don't think we'll be waiting much longer. We're in the final stages here, and if history keeps rhyming like it usually does, we're in for something special. Just remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. Don't make buying or selling decisions based on what I say in a video. That would be a very, very, very bad idea.